Hello dear Patreons and welcome to the video. It is February. January has gone very quick, and you can see from this image it is very snowy here in the northwest of England at the moment. We're finally getting a little bit of winter, which means that the ability to go outside and get some of the footage that I need to do some of the testing is proving a little bit tricky. But that's fine. That just means I'm going to have to spend a little bit more time on the bench. Now, welcome to everybody that joined the Patreon community in January, and a big welcome to everybody in this group. Don't forget, there is kind of a new YouTube channel. I'm going to put a link down below so you can make sure that you subscribe to it. At the moment, I think only about 40% of you have actually gone and subscribed to that. I'd recommend doing that as soon as you kind of watch this. Go and click on the link, do a subscribe, hit the bell notification icon as well, because I'm going to be posting things in YouTube videos on that channel really aimed at this community and allow me to do things that I can no longer do here on Patreon. Things like giveaways, for example, are no longer allowed under the latest Patreon guidelines. And so that means that I need to do it on something else. That's what that channel is there for, along with other things as well. So please pause the video here, go onto that channel, just make sure you're subscribed, hit the bell notification icon, because I also won't be posting links to all the videos that I put up on that channel here. So just make sure that that's all in place, and then I can comply with the Patreon guidelines and not get in trouble, but also I can continue to do the things that you guys love, and I can find homes for things that I need to find homes for. So looking out to February and actually beyond, what can you expect to see on the YouTube channel? Well, first of all, if you have anything in particular, do let me know. I have some great ideas. Some of them are a little bit out there, so it's going to take me time to not only get the technology in and then learn about it myself, implement it, test it, learn the tips and tricks, and then create videos. Some of them have been quite short and sweet and have turned into videos quite quickly. But please, if you have an idea or something you want to see, then let me know. Things like the antenna series have gone down particularly well, and that's going to continue. So over the next 3 or 4 weeks, Greg and I will be coming up with a whole raft of new tests. So going forward, going to be focusing a lot more on the sub 250 gram level. There's this video about the Tyro 79. It's a little kit that you can build a 3-inch quadcopter from, about £60, and is pretty good. The camera's not amazing, but the rest of it is actually not bad at all. Love the fact that you can not only build a sub 250 gram model, but that you can do it for less than £60. But don't forget, you're going to have to put a receiver, battery, charger, and all those other things with it too. And that's something I'm going to focus on moving through the year. When I looked at that stuff at the beginning of the year, what you're going to see in 2019, one of the big reactions that I got was more less than 250 gram stuff. So anything that's fixed wing or multi-rotor based that's below that level, to avoid registration and legislation. People like Canada, for example, you guys have got to live with this from summer. Other places I'm sure are going to follow along. There's going to be more focus on that. Next thing to talk about then is fixed wing. The transformer wing that I did the review on had a fantastic result. I'm going to build that out. Not sure whether I'm going to go with iNav on something like a Maytech F405 wing flight controller. Probably iNav 2.1 it'll be by the time I get around to that. Or put something like a Vector on it. Really not sure about that. Love the idea of having twin props on a wing, and also potentially having a downward facing camera. I've got loads of those old Turnigy action cams, the old pretend GoPro style, that will be great for just capturing downward images and flying around, to give another aspect to the recordings that I bring back after a day's flying. Also going to look more at FPV wings, so the ZOHD Dart, the ZOHD Dart XL, probably two of my favourite wings for FPV right now, and I want to continue looking at that stuff. Fascinated to see what those guys are kind of come up with this year. Probably less excited about scale stuff, just because I don't really have access to somewhere where scale landing gear can cope with it. The grass in the areas that I tend to fly is a little bit more bumpy, so it doesn't really like that, and coming in with the gear up just tends to snap props. Also going to spend more time looking at radios. The monopoly position, as it's starting to feel like now with FreeSky and OpenTX, needs somebody to come along, give that a little bit of a kick in the pants. I don't think any of the FrSky radios recently have really been focusing on anything apart from multi-rotors, and I think that needs to change. So hopefully there's going to be a little bit of a change on that. We did the look at the Jumper radio last year. That was a really nice radio, cheap as chips, but OpenTX were being a bit funny with Jumper, I think, and ended up having Jumper TX, if you remember that. So hopefully this year we're going to see more other radios come out that are relatively cheap and cheerful and an awful lot easier to use, because although I love OpenTX and it makes sense to my kind of logical programming head, for an awful lot of pilots that's just too much messing about. And a couple of my friends that I fly with regularly, whenever they need something changing, they'll sidle up to me at the flight line and kind of hand the radio over with the request of what they need changing. And that just isn't good. It needs to be more intuitive and easier. In this modern age, with all the interfaces and computer and gadgets that we have, it should be a piece of cake to almost have like a wizard to do things, pretty much anything you want to do to change how the model works. Also, I'll be looking at FPV stuff as well. Looking forward to seeing what main vendors like Fat Shark will do this year. Haven't really had any big announcements from them for the best part of a year now, so I'm fascinated to see what they're up to. And also the cost of things is coming down immensely. So the latest Menace RC antennas, you'll know I like Menace, that's why I'm working with Greg doing those videos. They're less than £10, $12, and also video transmitters, the latest ones that I'm looking at are less, about $10. And camera these days, some of the cheap cameras from Runcam, which still have all the fantastic features that initially appeared on very expensive cameras, are kind of sub $20. So for kind of 40 bucks or about £40, you can have a really nice FPV setup on pretty much any model that you own. So you don't have to compromise now and have average electronics just because you don't have the budget for the high-end Runcam stuff, the TBS video transmitters and the high-end antennas as well. And the last thing I'm going to do is 3D printing. We did that video where I talked about what the effect of covering your FPV antenna in anything was, and we talked about TPU in particular, and that's that flexible filament that you can 3D print with. Lots of questions about TPU and different filament types, so I'm going to redo some of those videos with a more up-to-date slant, and also look at optimizing 3D printing and more 3D printing design pieces and in the hobby, because they all seem to go down really well. So in summary, if you have any ideas of things that you want me to have a look at, do pop them below. Thank you again to everybody that is part of this Patreon community. It really helps me stay energized and keep going with this. There are some days I get up and I think, oh blimey, I've got to do the video on whatever it is, and knowing that you guys are there supporting just makes that so much more interesting and fun. I do this because I love it, and I'm probably at my happiest when I'm learning stuff. So getting questions about things that I don't quite understand is great, because it means that I have to go away and figure it out, and every model build is an exercise in problem solving, so that just kind of works for my brain and floats my boat. So if there are things that you need to know about or you need to chat, then do get in touch and let me know. And again, make sure that you please subscribe to that other YouTube channel that we're talking about here. That is designed to allow me to do all the things that I want to do with you Patreon community that I'm now not allowed to on Patreon due to their latest terms and conditions. So good luck to everyone for a fantastic February. Hopefully we'll get some decent flying in. And if you have any questions, pop me a comment.